everybody. This is Rose Odette with the Michigan Innovation Podcast, and we are so excited today to have the Cadillac Area Chamber of Commerce with us. We've got Caitlyn Stark and we've got Beth. How are you guys doing today?
Good. How
We're
are
doing
you?
great.
Good. I'm so happy that you're here. It's -4 degrees in January, and we're all bundled up, but we made it, and we're all close together, so we're going to stay warm. So how's it going today?
Oh, just amazing. It's a lot of fun when you're talking to businesses and they're telling you about what's going on. They're more willing to talk to you what's going on when the weather is changing.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
Gets them out of their shell, gets us out of our shells.
Fantastic. Yeah, I know that. Well, when it gets cabin fever, it's always nice to kind of have some distractions. But you know what I like to do on Cadillac Simply the Best and the Michigan Innovation Podcast is to introduce our audience to the people, because we're people first before we are business people or professionals. So if you wouldn't mind, both of you, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, Caitlyn, and then and Beth, would you tell us a little bit about yourself? And so we have a little bit of an idea of who you are and where'd you come from and what brought you to Cadillac.
Well, thank you for having us first and foremost. I definitely appreciate and value what you have contributed, where you volunteer, what you're willing to share. You are a huge asset in our community. I'm Caitlyn Stark. I'm president with the Cadillac Area Chamber of Commerce and serve with the Northern Michigan Chamber Alliance, Networks Northwest Workforce Board. And I'm an urban planner that found Cadillac on vacation and just started visiting Cadillac more and more, and no longer wanted to leave and decided to live where I vacation. And now I'm growing my family here and growing our own family business here, and have great intentions of raising our family here.
Awesome. Well, what is your business?
Stark Construction.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we always need more construction. We never have enough folks around helping us out with that. Well, that's fantastic. Wow, that's a great background. And, there's no better place. And where did you move here from?
I'm originally from the Detroit area.
Okay. Yes. I love it. Okay, Beth, your turn. How are you doing?
Good. My name's Bethany Miller, and I was born and raised here in Cadillac. So I've been in the business community since I was 15 years old, and got a lot of early mentors, kind of keeping me engaged in the community at a young age. And so held a couple different positions in the community. I'm currently the leadership and operations director here at the Chamber of Commerce. And so I run a lot of our events and leadership programming. I also hold board seats on about 6 different nonprofits and volunteer with probably another 10 to 12 per year. So I'm very involved in and off the clock in everything kind of going on in Cadillac. I love it
Oh my
here.
gosh. Well, tell us what is a couple of your not-for-profits that you hang out with.
So I'm the vice president on the Wexford County Historical Society. We started a nonprofit last year for volleyball club. And so we have up north arts. There's a few different ones that I'm
Wow.
involved in. So beer festivals and arts and culture and
Oh, Beth, that's
different things. So
awesome. Hey guys, did you hear that? We've got an urban planner and a person with a big heart for the nonprofits in this area. So we are super lucky. And so with that, we're going to pivot to the reason we're here today, and that is to talk about the Chamber of Commerce. And so I know that the Chamber of Commerce is a term that we hear even in grade school, middle school, and sometimes people are just not familiar with exactly what you do. You've got that beautiful building on the corner of Lake Street and what is it? Not Harris, but the Pine.
fine.
Right. And it's such a pretty building right there by the city complex. And so what do you guys do inside that building?
What
So
don't
many
we do?
things.
Yes. A chamber of commerce in any community should be and survives by representing the community. Your chamber is your entity, your geographical location or platform. It's a space in where you're building commerce, which is your connections, your relationships, your economy of that space. And so your local chamber of commerce in the Cadillac area has been serving this community for 125 years.
Wow. 125 years. That's amazing.
It's incredible.
Oh gosh, that's a lot of years. Gosh.
I think it is one of the second oldest.
Just doing benchmarking, we identified that we might be the second oldest in the state of Michigan.
Oh, congratulations. Is it 125 on the nose?
Yes.
So this is an anniversary type year for you guys.
100.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Fantastic. We're going to have a party.
Yes, we had a beautiful party last summer and brought in all of our membership. We brought in
Awesome.
legislators. It was a great experience.
Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you for sharing that with us. And so, what exactly are you celebrating? It says celebrating the Cadillac Chamber, and I know that you guys have so many activities happening. I know that I try to make it to a lot of them, but I feel like you have so much going on that I'm always missing something because you do so much.
On purpose. I think one of my favorite things that I was attracted to Cadillac when I was vacationing here initially and why I wanted to live here and work here is Cadillac has such a diverse industry base. There's so many different types of businesses. It's very community based, but it is also economy based. It's small business to internationally owned. It's private to public. And each one of those businesses have such an intimate relationship with one another, with their employees and community itself. What makes the Cadillac's chamber so strong in such a diverse community is intentionally molding to the evolution of where our business is at any given time. We have this video that shows our first 100 years, and it identifies that our first meeting was how are we going to handle sugar beet growth in our community?
Wow.
And we've come a long way from sugar beets.
Yep.
So is that a video I can put in the show notes? Is that
absolutely.
online or is that on YouTube somewhere? So
Well,
I could put it
we're
on.
working with some local students because we only had one copy, so they are working on digitizing it.
Yes.
So we should have it
Okay,
soon.
good.
Yes.
Then once it's there, I'll put it in the show notes so you can see it.
And it's fascinating.
Mhm.
It's fast because so much happened in 100 years, but everything from attempting to recruit a military base to festivals to tourism. We had our own junior club. What did that look like? And then we really evolved to connection, exposure, promotion in the 90s and early 2000s. And now you really see us involving ourselves in professional development, workforce development, leadership, advocacy work, and truly doing some storytelling moving forward. This is because those are the barriers that are keeping businesses all across the state and nationally as well. Cadillac's not alone in that, but keeping them from feeling successful day to day.
That's hard work.
It is, but we're here for the challenge.
Wow, that is super hard work. Well, I appreciate that. And one of the things that I was lucky enough to be a part of in the 90s, like in 96, was Cadillac Leadership. And boy, has it grown.
Yes.
Purpose.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about some of the things going on with Cadillac Leadership?
I get so excited talking about leadership. Yeah. So Cadillac Leadership, it's in its 32nd year, and it's a 10-month program. So you've got people that have just moved to town to people that have been in the business industry for 30 years, but they get a little bit more behind the scenes look at Cadillac. They get to have intimate tours each day. There's a day each month they get together. One day is media day and one is manufacturing, and they get to talk to our owners and sit down with them and learn about their leadership journey and where they're investing in the community and the current barriers that we're facing on a regular basis. And then they also get together and they choose a community project. So not only are they investing a day each month, they're also investing a lot of extra hours and stuff where they choose a community project. One of, some examples are, the playground that's down by the lake, or the lifting of the ceiling and stuff with the Shea locomotive down in the park. And so every year it's a different project. This year they're going to be building a community center for Habitat so that it can be a community space that's utilized for free classes, and people can rent out the space to learn about like finance or owning a home, or maybe it's somebody that wants to do some sort of kids craft, so it's going to be a big change for the community, and they are raising the money. They're doing the project, they're doing the fundraising for it. So it's a great learning opportunity for kind of our emerging leaders or ones that are already in leadership to learn a little bit more. But we also have a few other leadership programs and stuff that we're running, and we continue to kind of add on to that. We've got a women's cohort right now.
Yep,
Whoops, sorry. That we're doing, and we're following the subtext of Brene Brown. I always say her name wrong.
Yeah.
Dare to Lead, which is a phenomenal book. But we continue, and we have so many leadership programs we're running.
Really
right
do.
now.
The thing that I think is so exciting about leadership, I know last year we had the Club Cadillac on the podcast, and they were so thankful and grateful for the work that you did with what a success story, the horticulture greenhouse project that you did with them meant so much to those people that really need as much help as we can provide to them. They're great people, great work ethic, and just need a little bit of encouragement. And you guys did a fantastic job with that. I think that plus the playground, so many success stories that we talk about stories. So I would love to see some segues and stories about every one of those success stories, because every one, if you say 36 years, that means
32,
you've
yeah.
got or 32 success stories. Because like you said, every year they have a special initiative.
Yep.
And I had no idea the Habitat common space that they're building.
Yeah.
Where's that going to
Yeah. It'll be right onto the side of their property back there. It doesn't look
On
like
Boone
there's
Road?
room. Yep,
be?
there is.
Awesome.
Yep. So the exciting part is, you have these emerging leaders and they just need a little boost sometimes realizing their own potential. And
Mhm.
when you if you throw anybody into a project with someone else, you're used to leading, you're used to taking the reins, but when you have to work with other people, that's where the barriers can come in. And sometimes you just need to be reminded of your strengths, or maybe you need to be reminded of some of the things that you have to work on to really be that next leader. And throwing 20 people together to do a project together is a great way to kind of learn about who you really are as a leader.
Yes.
So it's exciting
I
to see.
agree. The other thing you mentioned was the women's cohort. And the women's cohort, in my opinion, is such an important leadership activity because we do have a lot of new female leaders. But where do we really get to come together as a group and really share experiences with people who have been there and been in your shoes, done what you've done? And I know I went to one of those meetings, and the stories that we were able to share really I think it opened my eyes to what the potential is in this town with some of the new leaders coming out. So that was so cool. Well, I know another very important thing is a lot of this mandated changes that are coming out of some of the new laws and some of the new things happening coming out of Lansing and maybe even Washington. And I know that advocacy is a very important aspect and pillar of the chamber. What is advocacy? Another word that maybe is vague and I'm not quite sure what it means. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you guys work with advocacy regarding, this whole legal business and that type of thing?
It's all started, at least at our local chamber. During COVID, there were so many mandates and regulations, truly preventing businesses from opening their doors and turning their lights on. And when businesses are in survival mode, they're pulling from their rainy day fund. They're talking about whether they'll be able to open their doors ever again. And holy smokes, Batman, that's in a small community, that's your neighbor, that's the people that own the shops that are playing soccer with your kids. This is very intimate, it's very personal. With the Northern Michigan Chamber Alliance, we all said together, we've got 19 chambers, economic development organizations with this entity now. We said, no more. This is incredibly important to keep our businesses open. And we made this very significant initiative. We created a coalition, and it wasn't just letter signing and phone calls. It was us as our chamber presidents going down to Lansing and saying, notice what's happening here. This is a life or death for the economy of our state, not just our regions, not only our communities. And all of a sudden, having these intimate and very personal relationships with our businesses, we learned a lot. And so we began to experience and started to hear what it was taking a business just to get from day to day. There's so much in the financial realm, there's so much in the HR realm, there's so much that employees are taking on as a responsibility just to be in the workforce now that are just so much more prevalent and talked about, even though they were facing them before. Your local chamber of commerce, noticing this pattern, said, okay, it's about time that we start to do one of three things: write the letter, make the phone calls, go down to Lansing, or join a coalition. We need to start activating that, but we also, now we're learning even part of the educational piece to our businesses to let them know what's happening now that we have a more intimate relationship on what a day to day looks like. But the number one thing that we are feeling right now is the Earned Sick Time Leave Act in this minimum wage legislation that would be going through at the end of February. This is an immense cost. It's an immense time restraint. There are really significant ramifications if it's not completed and recorded appropriately. That is so hard on organizations that have HR departments, let alone small businesses that are now going to be hiring additional employees to make sure that they hit these regulations, but also just be able to maintain it on their own. And how would a business know that? That something so significant was coming?
Right.
I couldn't imagine. And we are very thankful that chambers across the country are becoming more and more involved in these conversations so we can take that back to our members, because making sure our businesses are moving forward, that they're growing, that they're evolving, that they're surviving, these legislations and restrictions are the biggest time and financial cost to be in operation now.
Absolutely. And so if we are, I hear you loud and clear, and we've heard about these, you know, mandates coming. If I am still a little blurry or confused about how that would affect me, you guys are the go-to. I can go to the chamber. Where do I go to the Connect events? Where do I go? Do I go to your Facebook page? How do I really learn from you and know that do you have like a template, or do you have, how do I learn from you all of these advocacy? Because I really need to know, like, and I need to have you guide me. How do I get that guidance?
All of the above.
Okay, good.
Intentionally, because each one of our members connect with us in a different way.
Awesome.
We have an advocacy newsletter where we're sharing details and updates about this specific legislation on a monthly basis.
So how do we get on the advocacy newsletter? Is that
Mhm.
something I can put in the show notes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And please do.
All right.
Reach out to any one of us staff. We're paying attention to it very regularly. We are on several chains so that we can pay attention to the details and share that with you. The Connect Cadillac, Beth is leading those and is always present. I am sharing updates at our monthly Rise Up events. We have a government affairs committee where we're being very intentional about that. But even just around the corner, the Northern Michigan Chamber Alliance is hosting a virtual event where we're having an employment lawyer go through some of these details, and you can join us at the chamber. We'll have the conference room open for that hybrid experience, and that's this Wednesday at 10 o'clock. Following that, the Grand Rapids Chamber is also doing a virtual town hall meeting, which will be additional follow-up questions, and you could come to our chamber and we would have that open as well, because we agree. You hear us talk about that and you go, okay, I don't know what you're saying though. What does the details mean? And it's very confusing. What the Leo website is saying is how we'll respond as a state once this legislation goes through. But we follow a lot of what the Michigan Chamber is additionally putting together, because they had a coalition of employment lawyers. And employment lawyers are going to interpret it differently. And depending on if an employee goes to a lawyer or to a state, you'll have a different response. And so making sure we're sharing both of those sides and ends with our membership is so important to us, so that way we can make sure our members are protected.
Fantastic. And these events, the one on Wednesday and the one coming up from the Grand Rapids Chamber, will they be recorded? You know,
Usually they're recorded, some aren't, but as the opportunities pop up, we continue to share them in our newsletter and
In
on
your
Facebook.
newsletter, right,
Yes.
and on Facebook. Okay, good.
Yep.
Well,
So
so
if
it's
we're
really
missing those ones, there's
Yes.
plenty of opportunities.
Yes. So the important point is that connect with the newsletter, connect with Facebook page, join with the connect to Cadillac,
Yep.
and let's talk a little bit about this big event coming up in March. You've got an
Yes.
expo coming up too. I'm
Yes.
sure that'll be another chance. Who
Yeah.
wants to talk about the expo?
I will talk on that one. I'm really excited about it. Back 2000, I think 17 was the last time we used to hold a business expo. So I can keep a couple pieces in mind. We used to host one, and then more recently we have our MSU Extension office, and they host every year what we call a Mock It Rocket, where students from all over can come and they get interviewed by businesses and they get their resumes reviewed. And so they call it the Mock It Rocket event, but there's never actually been a rocket. They get to go and they have the resume reviewed, but then they don't have an opportunity to actually get in front of businesses. So myself and Nikki Schultz, our director of Alliance for Economic Success, were on that board serving to put on the Mock It Rocket event. And a lot of the feedback is that the businesses want an opportunity to hire locally. Our students want the opportunity to exercise their newly engaged skills. But also Michigan has, I think we're top 4 in out migration rate, where our students are getting their education and then they're leaving and we're not keeping them here. And as we've talked about, we have a really diverse business culture here, that people don't realize that when they're going to look at the sawmill, that also needs AI, and it also needs engineering, and it also needs marketing. And so there's all these places. So the idea of this career and commerce expo was born. And so we're taking the business expo and we're combining it with a regional job fair so businesses can network, but also we're bringing students of working age from several different districts.
So you're calling it a career and commerce expo.
Yes.
I love that. So career to help the students
Mhm.
do kind of a matchmaking with employers
Yes.
and students, and then commerce to network within the
Business to
community,
business as
business
well,
to
too.
business.
Yep.
Perfect.
And it will be open to everyone. And we've got hundreds of students, but also open to the community if there's someone else out there that obviously just wants to connect with a business or is also looking for a job.
And that's March
14th, and it'll
March
be at the
14th.
Wexford Civic Arena. Yep.
14th at the Wex.
Mhm.
Perfect. I'm so excited about that. I know we've got 2 booths.
Yes.
So
Yes, and I do think
Yes.
you were one of the very first ones to sign up. Too,
yeah,
so thank you.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. And I remember the old days, and that's such a beautiful facility too. We're so lucky to have the Wex.
We are.
It really
We're very
is.
lucky. to
They're
have
doing a
Wex.
lot of great things.
They
over
are.
there,
It's
too.
always something happening there. You drive by and it's like, what the heck are they doing now?
Yeah.
And I just love it. It's so important and it brings us all together. And I know that you want to give, you guys are just such givers and contributors to the community. And I know that you have an initiative to continue to tell the stories that are happening in and around our community. And I know that that means a lot to you. And so, how do you see the storytelling initiatives really playing out this year?
There is so much that we can share with our membership. And we're really excited about that. We talked about that first 100 years, how we evolve and change with our membership and meeting our members where they're at. Any business, any human feels more successful when they're working alongside partners or working along people that are looking out for their best interests. Us being able to share that story, sharing the story of Beth isn't in the office, she's out where you are. She's in the committee, she's in the festival, she's in the events. Each one of us are out trying to meet you at the barriers that you're experiencing. We're trying to meet you in the culture that you're experiencing, the economy issues that you're experiencing, because we're hearing you. And so that storytelling initiative will be us also translating that to you so that one, you can utilize us to the best of your ability so that what we're doing does intimately affect your business, does make that strongest connection, does rapport back out to what's going to make you go from day to day and grow from day to day.
Excellent.
And I think a lot of the barriers too is what we've talked about. When you're trying to run your own business, you don't have time to check the emails and read the newsletters. You're just trying to survive day to day. So you're not sure exactly what you need to pay attention to, or you may be a chamber member, but you're like, I haven't been able to read their things. I haven't been able to show up to an event. What are they up to? So we have to find a different way. I mean, and technology is constantly evolving. We're doing podcasts and different things like that. Now you don't have the time to read full paragraph newsletters. So we have to be innovative in our ways getting on podcasts, or, we're in what we're calling the TikTok generation. People want information in 30-second clips and little videos. And how do we meet you where you're at to tell our story of how much we're working and doing for you, but when in a busy world. So.
Exactly. And the thing I love about the events that you guys put on is that you give everyone a voice. And I think it's so important for the people of Cadillac and the business owners of Cadillac to have a voice and to have someone who will listen to their voice and to look at their different perspectives. For example, my daughter has this law firm, Toshiba Law here, and you spent at least 20 minutes just talking to her about the challenges of being a new lawyer in a small town this morning. And that just meant so much to her and to me. And I know you were listening with you both ears open so that you were kind of picking up what she was putting down, what the challenges are, and how you could help. And that really meant a lot to us. So thank you for that. And I know that you do that with all of the business owners in the community, and we do see you and hear you and hope that you know that. Yeah. And so I think that the bottom line is that we need to get involved.
Absolutely.
Isn't that the bottom line, really?
Yes. Yes. We can only help you as far, and that's any relationship, right? You both kind of have to show up because you both have pieces to do. And the more we both show up, the more we can collaborate and the more we can grow and be here for our community. So
your chamber is your membership, and your membership is what brings the activities. They're the ones that bring the engagement. They're the ones that provide that personal professional relationship, so that you do have all of those resources, those tools, those strengths at your fingertips. And so attending an event, coming to a webinar, shooting a text, email, or call, showing up on our website and leaving us a comment, following our pages, engaging on any post, filling out a survey, just clicking down the newsletter, any way that you're engaging tells us where you're at. That allows us to drive our mission so that we can meet you moving forward, so that we can drive your business forward.
Excellent. I love the way you guys do use technology. I love the QR codes at Rise Up, because we don't need all that paper.
No.
You just get a QR
and it's
code.
way easier to edit up until the last minute.
Yeah,
We're
those
human,
QR
we make
codes at
mistakes.
Rise Up and even though it's cold and dark outside, I can't get a seat at Rise Up. It's so exciting and it's so dynamic. And I think you guys do a fantastic job with Rise Up every month. It's really cool. And so we have such a bright future. In closing, what is your big vision for Cadillac moving forward?
So many things.
Yes, the vision grows by the hour. In a perfect world, we would have our membership involved, showing up, and we were truly meeting the needs of where our businesses were, and that our businesses around us were growing because they felt confident in the relationship that they had with us. And so moving forward, that's our goal, that's our intention, both personally and professionally as a team. And we look forward to growing the volunteers that are involved with the chamber, as well as the initiatives that we're doing to drive business forward.
And
Well,
you'll see a lot of, sorry.
No, go ahead.
And so you'll see a lot of programming additions and changes and stuff this year as we have continued to evolve and kind of meet our members what they're requesting. So we've got a bunch of different trainings and stuff set up this year. Just hearing the voices of our membership and what you guys have asked and requested to maybe have trainings more local. There's a lot of different initiatives and stuff that we have on the docket for this year that you'll see coming soon.
Oh, I'm so excited. Well, I'm going to keep an eye on the newsletter. I always look at it. It's so colorful and it's so full of good information. I know you guys put a lot of work into it. I know Victoria isn't here today, but I got to do a shout out for her.
Yes,
she does a great job. And the thing that I want to just say is growth. I think what I've heard over and over again is Cadillac and growth.
Yes.
And what I see the chamber is doing for us is really kind of getting through some of the red tape with the advocacy, clearing the way so that we understand with clarity what some of these new laws are going to bring to the table, giving everyone a voice, teaching people leadership skills, whether it's through building projects or just teaching some of our new female leaders what's happening from the community perspective. And so I just wanted to give you both an opportunity for any last shout outs or any final words before we wrap this up.
To our committees and our volunteers, to our board, and are driving business forward on their own 2 hands and feet to make us
Yeah,
who we are.
we can't do this alone, and that's the one great thing about Cadillac is Cadillac's big, but Cadillac is small, and it's driven on relationships, and we can't do these things alone without the partners and the volunteers and the committees that we have helping to make all of those initiatives and dreams happen. So
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, that's such a nice thing. And I want to ask you, this is a great event for me and for the community. We're going to put this out on all of the different platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. And I wanted to say, you've got a lot coming up this year. Do you think you might stop by next January to let us know how it all turned out?
I think that sounds good for us.
Okay, with that, we're going to say goodbye.
Bye.
See you next time.
See you next time.
You guys were awesome.